Brazilian police have discovered a tunnel that was to perform the biggest bank heist ever. 550-yard long underground tunnel from their headquarters to the Banco do Brasil bank vault.
How the thieves managed to avoid the CCTV cameras and motion detectors of the building.
It was a heist so perfectly executed that it still baffles investigators to this day.
$70 million US, one of the biggest heists in the history of the world.
Imagine waking up to a city buzzing with its usual chaos, only to find that a vault deep within the Central Bank of Brazil has been breached. No alarms, no witnesses, no clue how it happened. Just a gaping hole and $71.6 million in cash. Gone. This wasn't an ordinary crime. It was a masterpiece of precision, pulled off by a gang that lived among their unsuspecting neighbors, hiding in plain sight as gardeners. Who were they? How did they dig an 80-meter tunnel under a bustling city without raising suspicion? And most importantly, how have they managed to keep much of the fortune hidden to this day? This isn't just a story about a bank robbery. It's a puzzle so intricate that even now, nearly 2 decades later, it's far from solved. Stick around, because what happened next will leave you questioning everything you think you know about crime and cunning. This is the account of a group of thieves who pulled off the world's largest bank heist in an unconventional manner, without any weapons. To this day, the case remains unsolved by the police. The story unfolds in Brazil. On the morning of August 8th, 2005, security officers at a Brazilian bank were shocked by what they discovered in the vault. Beneath it lay a massive hole in the ground, and all the money stored inside had vanished. This heist quickly earned its place in history as one of the largest bank robberies ever recorded, and was even listed in the Guinness World Records as the largest bank robbery of all time. How did the thieves orchestrate this elaborate heist? What happened to the massive sum of stolen money? Have the police apprehended all the perpetrators? Did the bank manage to recover its stolen fortune? These intriguing questions make this true story captivating. Be sure to watch the video until the very end. If you find it engaging, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share it with others. Friends, Brazil is a breathtakingly beautiful country, home to the picturesque city of Fortaleza. Known for its stunning beaches, Fortaleza transforms into a city of shadows when the sun sets, notorious for its high crime rate and underground activities. At the heart of the city stands the Central Bank of Brazil, a towering structure that plays a vital role in managing the nation's economy. On the morning of August 8, 2005, around 8:30 a.m., police officers at a nearby station were starting their day, casually sipping their morning coffee. Suddenly, a phone call shattered the routine. News of a robbery at Fortaleza's central bank sent shockwaves through the station. Coffee cups were abandoned as the officers rushed out, their emotions ranging from anger to urgency. What greeted them at the bank was beyond comprehension. This was no ordinary theft. The vault had been breached, yet the bank's alarm system hadn't been triggered. How could such a meticulously planned robbery occur in a facility equipped with high-security measures? At that time, the bank was overflowing with cash due to the ongoing replacement of old currency notes with new ones. Oddly, the bank had not been maintaining proper records of the old notes, and their serial numbers weren't being tracked. To make matters worse, the stolen money wasn't insured, as the premiums for insurance were deemed too high. The bank staff had placed complete faith in their robust security system, which ultimately proved to be their downfall. The thieves, however, seemed to know these vulnerabilities. They deliberately targeted the old currency, stealing approximately $71.6 million, equivalent to about 315 crore Indian rupees in 2005. Imagine the staggering value of that sum in today's terms. Although the heist was executed on August 6, 2005, the planning had begun months earlier, as far back as March of that year. This was no spontaneous act of crime. the mastermind behind the audacious operation was Luis Fernando Ribeiro. He partnered with Ali Mao, a notorious German criminal with significant political connections and a history of orchestrating major bank robbery. Ali Mao readily agreed to Ribeiro's plan, which involved constructing a tunnel to penetrate the vault. The team comprised approximately 25 highly skilled individuals, each an expert in their field. The group included engineers who designed detailed maps to access the vault, excavation specialists, and even mathematicians. Ali Mao's first recruit was a security guard employed by the central bank. This guard provided critical insider information, including the locations of CCTV cameras, motion sensors, and the blind spots in the surveillance system. He also handed over a detailed blueprint of the bank, outlining every room and its dimensions. For his cooperation, Ali paid the guard a hefty advance and promised a larger payout after the heist. With the vital information in his possession, Ali wasted no time in putting the plan into action. He began by renting an old residential house near the bank and started assembling a team. Gradually, more people joined the operation and all the members moved into the house. They renovated the space and transformed it into what appeared to be a legitimate landscaping and gardening business. The gang filled the property with numerous plants, installing both natural and artificial garden features, presenting themselves as a business specializing in selling plants and grass. Before long, residents from the surrounding areas began visiting the property to purchase plants. To enhance their cover, the gang purchased a van and placed advertisements all over the neighborhood. They also created uniforms for their employees, and each gang member consistently wore this uniform. This elaborate disguise served a crucial purpose. The house they rented was located approximately 80 meters away from the bank building. From this location, the gang began digging a tunnel 13 feet deep, stretching directly to the bank. The fake gardening business provided an ideal cover for this activity. Landscaping naturally involves the movement of soil, so when neighbors saw dirt being removed or transported, they did not find it unusual. Unbeknownst to them, the gang was meticulously excavating a tunnel beneath the ground. To handle the soil discreetly, the gang purchased a truck and selected a small room in the house as their designated digging site. At the end of each day, they would cover the digging area with cloth and lock the room to conceal their activities. If someone happened to enter the house unexpectedly, there would be no visible signs of their work. The area surrounding the central bank was a bustling hub filled with offices and constant activity. To ensure their digging sounds went unnoticed, the gang restricted their work to daytime hours when the ambient noise masked their efforts. Adding another layer of legitimacy to their business, they hired a secretary who occasionally visited the house. One day, the secretary noticed an unusually large amount of soil being removed and loaded into the truck. Curious, he questioned the gang members about it, but they laughed off his concerns and told him to mind his own business. Despite their dismissive response, the secretary grew suspicious. Later, when the house was empty and none of the gang members were present, the secretary unlocked the restricted room out of curiosity and ventured into the tunnel. Using the flashlight on his phone, he walked to its end and discovered that it led directly to the bank. Stunned by his discovery, he quietly left the house without confronting anyone. Unfortunately, the secretary failed to realize that his phone SIM card had fallen into the tunnel. The next day, he confronted the gang and informed them that he could no longer continue working with them. Handing in his resignation, he said, "I saw the tunnel and I cannot be a part of this crime anymore." But Ali responded to him sternly, "Now that you know about this, we cannot let you live. Either join us or we'll kill you." Left with no alternative, the secretary reluctantly agreed to stay. The tunneling work continued without pause. To ensure the stability of the tunnel walls, they used sturdy wooden planks for reinforcement. Anyone who happened to see the tunnel would immediately realize it was far from an amateur construction. The entire project cost around 2 million rupees to execute. At last, the critical day arrived. Saturday, August 6, 2005. The heist had been meticulously timed to coincide with the day other banks sent old currency notes to the central bank. By this point, the gang had completed the tunnel and was fully prepared. On August 6th, they broke through the concrete wall of the vault and managed to cut through a 0.1 meter thick steel sheet. Their detailed knowledge of the bank's CCTV cameras, motion sensors, and blind spots allowed them to avoid detection entirely. Once inside the vault, the gang opened 5 containers filled with old currency notes and emptied them. Since the operation needed to be carried out discreetly, it took the thieves about 10 hours to transport all the money from the vault back to their hideout. Once the cash was safely inside their rented house, they spread white powder throughout the vault and their home to erase any fingerprints. The gang then loaded the stolen money into a van and fled the scene. Afterward, they divided the loot among themselves and dispersed to different locations to go into hiding. When one of the gang members expressed dissatisfaction with his smaller share, Ali shot him dead to assert control. Ali also issued a stern warning to the others, instructing them to remain in hiding for an extended period and to refrain from spending any of the stolen money. This precaution was meant to ensure that their trail remained cold and the authorities wouldn't trace them. On Monday morning, when the bank reopened for business, employees discovered that all the old currency notes stored in the vault were missing. By that time, it was too late for immediate action. During the initial investigation, the police recovered the secretary's SIM card from the tunnel. However, they chose not to arrest him right away to avoid alarming the rest of the gang. Instead, they launched a covert operation called Money Attractions to track down and apprehend the gang members simultaneously. Despite the gang's efforts to wipe away fingerprints, the police managed to recover partial prints from the crime scene. Meanwhile, an associated criminal, Luis Fernando Rivan, who was a member of a different gang, was kidnapped and later murdered despite a ransom being paid for his release. Ali, however, proved to be a particularly elusive target. His connections within the police department allowed him to mislead investigators. At one point, Ali loaded 2.3 million Brazilian reals into containers, placed them in a vehicle transporter truck, and sent it towards São Paulo, Brazil. The police intercepted the truck, mistakenly assuming the gang was based in São Paulo. Despite this clever diversion, the authorities pressed on with their investigation. They tapped the secretary's phone and uncovered that the gang members were planning a secret meeting. Disguised officers were deployed to the meeting location, some posing as street sweepers, others as joggers, and even a few as parents strolling with children. One officer went so far as to climb an electric pole, pretending to be an electrician. As the gang members began to arrive, the police waited patiently, allowing around 20 minutes to ensure that no one was left out. Once they were confident everyone was present, they launched their operation and successfully apprehended all the gang members in attendance. Among those arrested was the security guard who had provided Ali with detailed blueprints of the bank's layout. The police had suspected insider involvement from the very beginning. Their suspicions were confirmed when the security guard abruptly quit his job after the heist and was later found to have 2 million Brazilian reals deposited into his bank account. However, Ali himself remained elusive. It took the police another 5 years to finally track him down and arrest him in 2008. To date, only $40 million of the 106.4 million Brazilian reals stolen during the heist has been recovered. Even now, this case remains an enigma. Numerous questions continue to haunt investigators. Who disabled the alarm system during the heist? How many individuals were truly involved in the operation? How did the thieves gain such precise knowledge that the old currency notes were unrecorded and lacked serial numbers? And most importantly, where is the remainder of the money? These mysteries persist, keeping the case alive and under investigation. And so, the story of the Fortaleza heist remains full of unanswered questions. How did the thieves pull it off so perfectly? Where is the rest of the money, and who else was involved? Even after all these years, the mystery is far from solved. This wasn't just a robbery, it was one of the smartest crimes in history.
To this day, the Banco Central burglary remains one of the greatest mysteries in criminal history. A heist pulled off with the precision of a Hollywood movie.
However, they were caught, as several of the members were being watched as suspects following the original 2005 burglary.
If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible tales. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.